So super exciting news, and I'm so glad because I knew that this was they had said this was potentially temporary when they implemented these changes for European countries back in December, that they said, oh, it's going to possibly be temporary, which I thought was weird because I'm like, well, if it's due to a law, why would it be temporary? Obviously, we don't know the whole ins and outs, and I'm not in Europe, so I obviously am probably the last person who knows the most about the ins and outs of these laws and why they were implemented. But the good news, the exciting news is that the restrictions that were put into Messenger are now being rolled back. So I am going to just go over really quick which features are going to be rolled back and when they are. Also, keep in mind too that some of this may change, especially with the timing of it. It is slightly broad, but at least we know we can expect them to come back. So let me pull up my screen here because I made a little presentation for you. Okay, share screen. Okay, so EEA restrictions. They are going away, which is so wonderful. I just wish they wouldn't have, for 2 months, got rid of them because I know this has caused a lot of issues for a lot of people. So let's get started. And hopefully you can see that, that my picture's not in the way, but Messenger features that were removed December 16th are making a gradual comeback. So they're going to return in 3 groups. So they're putting them together in 3 groups: Q1, Q2, and to be determined, right? So Q1 is obviously January through March. So some of this actually has started to come back, I'm sure, as you've seen. And then April through June, April, May, June is Q2. And then after that is to be determined. Like I said, the actual dates may vary, but at least there is a slight timeline that we can look forward to, which is great for those of us with clients in the EU, that we can say, okay, around this time we should have this back. But also FYI, for those of you who are in Europe or who have clients in Europe, yes, it has been a pain. I have been suffering with it too, with a very large client of mine doing a big launch. And so it's been super frustrating, but there are ways around it that I've been able to use. I'm sure you've been able to use. So just keep utilizing those until we get these all returned. So Q1. So here's between now and March, end of March. So median file attachments. So that's, if you're wanting to send voice notes, if you're wanting to send actual files, like PDFs, things like that, that hasn't been able to be utilized. The nice thing is it's been sent as a link. It's a ManyChat link, but so that's one way around it. But they will actually be coming back where your subscribers can actually access the content. Product templates for Facebook catalog. So this applies if you have an e-commerce bot and you actually use Facebook catalogs, having the product templates. If you don't, then you don't have to worry about that one. The persistent menu, this is going to be so much better. I didn't realize how much I enjoyed having a menu until there wasn't one for this client. So the persistent menu will come back, which is wonderful. So you can actually have things for people to access down there at the bottom. The PSID matching. So if you don't know what PSID is, it's your user's individual ID that's connected to the Facebook page. They get a unique ID. So being able to have that match now and being able to utilize that for Facebook ads and things like that will be a huge game changer for bringing down ad costs and things. So the PSID matching will be here also within the next couple of months. The guest mode of chat plugin. Now I'm thinking that this is back already. Correct me if I'm wrong. But if it's not, then it should be in the next month or so. So being able to have the chat plugin on the website, giving people the option to actually chat with the business without having to log in to Facebook. It gives them that option to chat. So that's been a great addition. We've only had it since like the last 6 months, maybe 7 months. So then it was taken away. So we had gotten used to that capability and then it was taken away, which was horrible, right? So now that we have that, that's coming back, that will make it a lot easier. Of course, though, my hope, and if you haven't seen, in the ManyChat feedback portal, is having a chat widget option that requires zero Facebook connectivity. That would be really wonderful, being able to still bring them in as a contact into ManyChat. So if you haven't voted for that yet, please be sure to go do that. That would be really beneficial for a lot of people. Anyways, messaging feature review API. So this is, I had to go and look to see what exactly is this, because I'm like, feature review, what? And of course, when I see API, I think, okay, APIs, I understand, top level, high level of what APIs do and how they function. When you get into the weeds of it, it gets a little dicey. But what this is, from what I've read, is being able to have the access again to the person's gender, their locale, their time zone, their photos, so things like that. Inside of Messenger, it's going to be great to have that back. Like I said, my one client who's in Europe right now, it's like everybody's blank, right? There's no images, nothing. So it's like, okay, all these people are these unknown gray colored photos, and also not knowing their time zones has been a big issue in a way, because I'm trying to send out messages and SMS messages too, based off of their time zones. And so, and also when I'm replying in live chat, I don't want to reply to them, when it's 3 a.m. over there. So it's going to be really great that this is back. Web plugins, so buttons, checkbox, etc. Being able to have those back, so wonderful. No more keywords for buttons. The other thing is, I think I have this on here. If not, I'm just going to say it now while I'm thinking about it. Ref URLs, being able to have those are now working. If you did not know, which also includes QR codes, because the QR code does the same thing. It's pretty much a ref URL. Same with like if you're running SMS through ManyChat and you connect it to a messenger block, that is technically a ref URL in its own weird, jumbled, huge URL, but that is the same feature for the most part. So that's working. So it's great. We don't have to rely on keywords anymore, which is a huge blessing, because running campaigns with keywords, it was interesting to find how a lot of people either can't spell properly, or their phone does autocorrect and it sends something else. Or the other thing is people in different languages and countries, when they try to, like in English, try to respond with a keyword, and their default keyboard on their phone spelled it differently with a different asterisk or whatever, it doesn't work. So, and it's sometimes hard to account for all of that when you're setting up the keyword type of bot. So that is really interesting. Another thing I want to mention. So in my course group, somebody brought up this, and I want to pass this information along because I think it's really important, is that the website chat widget, this is kind of not related to EEA, but it kind of is. If you decide to, for whatever reason, have the Facebook page where only certain people, you put a restriction on the Facebook page that, like, for example, that only people in the US can message the page. Well, the weird thing that happens is it will affect your website chat widget where it won't show up on mobile. I don't know how that connects like that, why, but FYI, if you're having an issue with the website chat widget not showing up on your website while on mobile, double check that you don't have any country restrictions on your Facebook page. So FYI for that little tidbit. Okay, so quarter two. So this is after March, April, or starting April. So receive API, so that's pretty much webhooks. So a lot of that's going to come back, which is, again, going to be really beneficial for a lot of people who are utilizing, Messenger in the EEA. Receipt template. So if you were using this previously, then that's coming back. What this pretty much is it allows you to send to the user a receipt of their purchase, right? Includes like the product that they purchased, the price, all that stuff. So it's this receipt template. So that's going to be a functionality again, or functioning properly again in EEA. One-time notification. I cannot wait. Oh my gosh. This is the biggest blow to my bot with this one-time notification, because I had set this whole thing up, like I said, it's for this launch. So it's this big launch, over a few months. I set it all up with using one-time notifications and using my hierarchy of engagement, which if you attended Conversations Conference, you heard me talk about that. So I had it all set up. It was great. I'm like, this is going to rock. We're going to get great results. And then December 16th happened and one-time notifications went away. And I was just like, no. So sadly, of course, it hasn't been as effective without that. I realized how big of a bummer it was going to be, but now being in the weeds without the one-time notification, it's been a huge just Debbie Downer. So I'm so glad this is coming back. Again, though it's going to be in a few months, but one-time notification is going to be back for the EEA. If you're excited about that, let me know below, because I know a lot of people who have reached out to me who are over in Europe that are just completely been bummed about having the one-time notification not being an option, because mainly sponsored messages aren't an option either. So it's just like, it's not one thing, it's something else, right? So at least getting the one-time notification is going to be a great, I guess, benefit and return to being able to utilize Messenger the way that we really want to. Typing delay. And again, I don't know why they took this away, of why it was something with, I don't know why, but the typing delay will be back. So that's going to be great. And this will be also wonderful for when you're sending messages that are longer or that you have an image, being able to have that typing delay, to just have that little bit of a delay really can allow you to create messaging that doesn't overwhelm the user, right, all at once, where you're giving some delays between messages. So of course, until this is back, what you can do and what I've been doing is just splitting out the messages with buttons in between, right? If it's a really long one, you don't want to send a huge long, you don't want to put like an email inside a messenger. So instead, make sure that you have, buttons between, so that also gets that engagement going too. Live chat personas. So if you have a chatbot where you, in the live chat, you like to show the person's photo, the person who's live chatting with the users, and their name, that is coming back too. That will be back Q2, which works really well for larger businesses that have a lot of live chat agents that they'd like to have that persona aspect of things. So that will be back as well. Account linking and authentication logging in. So I haven't done this myself, and actually reading about this coming back, I didn't realize that it went away, or but it makes sense. So, but being able to actually utilize Messenger to have people log in to another account for the business, that went away. And so knowing though that you can do that, that's pretty amazing. And so if you haven't been doing that before, well, now you know it's an option. If it works with your business or a client's business, that you can then utilize this to help people get logged into their account. So again, though, in the EEA, that is not available until Q2. Also, I guess I don't want to say just people in the EEA, because obviously, I'm in the US, but my client technically isn't in the EEA. She's in Switzerland. Her page is based out of Switzerland, but her page is affected. So somehow she got swooped up into it. But if you have anybody in Europe who is an admin on the page, that's pretty much what causes it. So, even if the company is based in like the US, but there's an admin on the Facebook page from Europe, then it causes all these issues. So FYI, I guess you got a couple months that it's all going to go away, but if you can at least, remove the person for a few months, then that could be a great way to have it so it, works again for at least a little bit. Okay, so the to be determined time frame, airline template. So if you have an airline, or you work for an airline company, or you have a client who's an airline, guess what? You get the template back for that. So that's it's kind of like the other template that we're talking about, the post-purchase template. Messenger labels. So these are with ManyChat, we don't utilize these. Again, this is a feature that I've asked. So maybe I'll post in the comments the links to these feature requests, so you can go vote too. So Messenger labels, you can actually create Messenger labels inside of the inbox itself. So on the person's profile, when you go to their chat, you can actually see Messenger labels. One of the big important Messenger labels that are usually there is the ID of the ad that they've opted in through. So that's really important, to help with conversions and being able to see inside of ManyChat, like, okay, this person opted in through this this ad. You can see that right away. And so then that way also you're not having to create multiple flows just to have the ability to split test different ads. So anyways, Messenger labels are coming back. So that will be good. And then let's hope the next step will be ManyChat will start utilizing those and be able to bring those back into ManyChat too. Messenger Extension Sdk. This is related to WebView features. Again, this is, that's about all that I know about that. So, I'm sure some of you who are experiencing this not being a feature that you're super bummed about, well, guess what? It's coming back. So super excited for you that this will be back for you to use once again, but to be determined. So could be Q3, hopefully, and not, Q4, but that is to be determined of coming back at some point. So like I said, in the meantime, until these features are restored, please continue to implement omnichannel, SMS, email, and Messenger. And then along those lines, try to, my whole goal when I'm building chatbots is getting people to get back into Messenger as much as possible and reopening that 24-hour window. For example, I sent an omnichannel broadcast to the whole list yesterday for my client that's doing the launch, trying to get them back into Messenger to opt in for a live Q&A video that was going on today. So of course, anybody who had engaged in the last 24 hours, they got a Messenger message, which was great. They would click the button that would then say, hey, we'll send you a reminder tomorrow. I will tag them or whatever. So it's within 24 hours. So then they can get that reminder within 24 hours. Then of course, SMS, it's just as engaging as Messenger, and getting them to click there to get into Messenger, which will then also open that 24-hour window. And then email as the third option, getting those people to get back into Messenger too. And so once they are getting into Messenger, that opens up that 24-hour window. And then today, sending out the message about the Q&A, everybody who's opted in and engaged in the last 24 hours, they got that message. But instead of having the message and then the button with the link to the live, directly to the live, I had it go to another message. So that way it extends, it reopens that 24-hour window. So if there's, the fact of the cart closing at the end of today, I want to be able to send another message to those people within, the next 24 hours. So being able to utilize that window as much as possible. So make sure you're thinking about just trying to open that 24-hour window as much as possible, even with, one-time notifications coming back. That's also super important, right? You want to get people to get within that 24-hour window and reopen that as much as possible. So yes, they will return in 3 groups, Q1, Q2, and to be determined. The actual dates may vary, but at least we have a somewhat timeline, right? So that is good news for those of us who have bots that are affected by these changes. But at least we know we have, the chance of things coming back, to normal for the most part. So anyways, if you guys have any questions about this, please post them in the comments below, and I will be sure to answer them to the best of my ability. And I will also post the links to the request, the feature request. So that way you can go and request those features because they are super important. So anyways, hope you guys have a good rest of your day. We'll talk to you later. Okay, bye.